Sadan Danny, Election Ninja here, and welcome back to Election Ninja's Lab. Once again, we are going to be comparing the manga to the anime for My Hero Academia since we just got the newest, episode yesterday. Yesterday for me, 2 days ago for you guys. But the important thing to understand is that the anime actually seems to do things a little bit better with really impacting all of the importance of this season. Now that I'm actually reading through the manga before I'm actually watching the anime, I actually understand a little bit more about what exactly is going on between the two series, and it's actually extremely helpful. Now, this chapter is very much, or this episode is very much a breakdown of hero society and how much you have to be careful and work with other people. There are a few things that that some people aren't necessarily going to understand. The idea of the fact that there's a lot of talking, not too much actual fighting, which in previous seasons it was mostly them going off to fight. It was, yes, there were episodes of planning, but we didn't really see how the heroes have to go about all these things. While in this season, we have been seeing a lot more of how the pro heroes have to go about doing everything. And it's almost a breakdown of the entire hero society, which honestly is really great. Like I said, it's much easier to understand using the anime than it is for the manga. While there is definitely a bit of it, and you can understand it throughout the entire manga, it's, like I said, it's a bit more clear. People understand it better. I do have to say, though, that Juzo Moashi, the centipeder, whatever his name is, basically the guy with the centipede head. I love his voice. I think that it was actually a really good choice to make it like this almost animalistic voice, insectoid voice. When I was reading the manga, I just read it in a normal voice. I didn't think to even consider that they would actually put that voice in. But I should have realized it because of the fact that he always does something with, if you have an animal head, you're going to get that voice. So, dog head, you're going to get that, and blah, 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 blah. So, you're going to be like wolf and all that jazz. So, definitely a fun little thing to say the least. And it really helps you understand that these characters really are stressing out about this stuff. In the manga, once there is a little bit of Deku and Midoriya constantly freaking out, but the thing is that it's only for a few pages, while in the actual episode, you see them panicking throughout the entire. In manga, it's only for a few pages, and then they stand up and say the whole thing. But in the anime, you can see them constantly just sitting there, just, oh, we suck, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a little bit off screen, so you can barely see it, but you know that they're doing that throughout the entire episode. Miro and Midoriya are just panicking throughout the entire thing, and it's a great instance to see, because it helps us cement the fact that these kids are panicking. They want to save Eri, and that's great. That's honestly amazing. Of course, Eri is hardly in this episode, with only showing up at the end, which I do want to talk about at some point, but I don't really know exactly how to explain it. Basically, all it is that guy, he's going to be kind of important, but he's not super important. Believe it or not, he shows up in the next episode, and he will probably never show up again, even though he doesn't actually die. Or there's no instance where they show him dying. So, yeah. But I do have to, but that is going to conclude this episode. But since it is a breakdown of Hero Society, I thought I would talk a little bit about My Hero Academia Vigilantes. So, Vigilantes is, I've mentioned before that Vigilantes is taking place long before, well, not long before, but a little while before the events of normal My Hero Academia. Excuse me. It's before Aizawa has joined the school, and before All Might has after All Might has had his injury. They don't actually show the injury in the video, or in the manga, but they do significantly show that yes, he has had this situation. He explains in the thing that he used to have a sidekick who was great for him. And if you guys have read the manga and watched the show, then you know that that instance where he lost his powers, or he's starting to lose his powers, was the breaking point for him and his friend. But it's actually kind of interesting because Vigilantes actually released the same day as this volume, which is volume 15 of normal My Hero Academia, over in Japan. And the same goes for, I believe it was the second volume of Smash. It might be the second volume of Smash. Yeah, I don't see anything that's specifically talking about Smash in this, but Smash did release around the same time, which if you guys can't see it, it's the small little volume right at the end of my bookshelf on the top shelf. But it's a small little thing that's just a whole bunch of fun. But this one is a constant breakdown of Hero Society and how important and how blurry the line is. While there are characters from previous adventures in this, they don't serve as major of a role. In fact, I'm pretty sure that both Aizawa and Ingenium actually show up in this volume because they just got their first. He just got Betten Court and Furuhashi just got permission to actually add Ingenium to this volume. I think that there are some heroes that were actually important before, and Aizawa is as well throughout the entire series. So the simple fact of the matter is that there is a lot of stuff that goes on, and it's a lot of breakdown of Hero Society. And that leads me to think that we will be getting all of these characters showing up possibly in the anime before too long. Not necessarily a full-blown episode, but rather what they have at the end of, I believe, Volume 5, where it's basically an introduction to the Vigilantes from Aizawa. Aizawa is telling the kids about this whole instance. Obviously, they'll edit it a bit so that it actually fits into the story, because they actually explain in the manga that it's actually a different universe and stuff. But it is still there. But by using that scene, they can actually explain all of the characters, and they can introduce them in a relatively nice way. And honestly, I think that a lot of fans of Vigilantes will be really excited, because if they do decide to show that, in My Hero Academia, like after this arc, because this arc is a pretty long arc, and I think that that would be a good point to introduce it, because that's the end of the really breakdown of Hero Society. There is a bit more throughout the rest of the show, but that's a big breaking point. So having at that point Aizawa saying, I think I should tell you kids about the vigilantes. At which point we go into into an episode where he explains a little bit about his adventures with the vigilantes, going over brief details that won't necessarily spoil the show, but it will actually prep people to be ready for this amazing series coming soon, which they could start in 2020, I want to say, which I really hope that they actually do start talking about this, because I hope that they actually reveal that it's coming before 2020, so I can actually make a video about it. I don't know what's going to happen there. We will be talking more about the Copa situation as it gets closer, like I said. Speaking of which, on November 30th, I believe. Wait, what? I need to make sure that's the date. Actually, I think I'll do it on the 29th. On the 29th, I'm going to be doing a relatively short live stream where I'm going to be talking about, here on YouTube. I'm not going to be messing with the, I might put it on Twitch, but it's honestly more of a pain than it's worth to do both. So it's going to be going to YouTube, and I'm going to be talking about how this channel might be going forward, simply due to the fact that we don't have, the best situation on our hands. Many people are worried, including MatPat, and we will be talking more about that on the 29th. So that'll be the video for that day, as well as the live stream. So definitely come down to that. I'm not 100% certain on the exact timing yet, but I'll try to get to be around 2 to start the live stream. So if you guys do want to show up, then definitely that's around the time to show up. That's 2 PST, which will be 3 Mountain Time, I believe. Or, I don't know. Remembering time zones is a challenge. So if you guys are interested, then definitely do show up. But anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and of course ring that notification bell. And if you want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out my merch store and my bookstore, or my book. And I will see you guys in the next video. But on.